What's going on, everybody? So today I'm going to talk about my radiology rotations. Let's get to it. So I've done 6 weeks worth of radiology during my 4th year of med school. I did neuroradiology, I did MSK radiology, and I did general radiology. All of them were 2-week rotations. They were actually a joke. They were one of my favorite rotations purely because I worked less than probably an hour per day. For a couple of the rotations, I didn't even have to show up, except once per week. So, if you're looking for a chill rotation, this is the one for you. So I started off, my school makes you do general radiology first. That was the most intensive. That was usually 1 to 3, maybe 4 hours per day. We rotated through different types of radiology subspecialties. So for example, we worked with ultrasound, x-ray, CAT scan, MRI, nuclear radiology, things like that, where we just shadowed specialists in those areas. Sometimes they weren't physicians, they could have been techs, like x-ray techs or CT techs, where we would go and hang out. They would show us how things worked and they would let us leave. So that was nice to get kind of a foundation of what radiology had. There's a lot that I had no clue what they did. I don't know if I really ever worked with an attending. They always either had me with residents or techs for the general radiology. At the end of that, we actually had a 100-question test that the failing score was a 0%, so no one actually failed. And it was based on the modules we had to do through those 2 weeks. It wasn't hard. That was just the only test I've had in 4th year, so that made me see a question on a screen for once, which I didn't really love, but for only working a couple hours per day, definitely worth the trade. I then went to neuroradiology, and that was the easiest rotation I've had of all of med school. I showed up the first day. They made me stay from 8:30 to 12:30, and that was after I've had all these 1-hour rotations. So that felt like forever, just sitting there with an attending, just reading through brain scans. It was hard and long, and we got pimped, so didn't love that. But then as we were leaving, the fellow was hey, what are you going into? And I'm psych. And she's yeah, you're excused for the next 2 weeks. So I didn't have to show back up for 2 solid weeks. There's nothing more to say about that. There was no test, no nothing, didn't have to check in with anybody. I just showed up one day for 4 hours, and then I was excused for 2 weeks. That's pretty sweet. And then I had MSK radiology. This one was also 2 weeks long. And for this one, we got paired with a physician for a 3-day period. So we had 3 total physicians for the 2-week rotation. So you would show up, and I always introduce myself hey, I'm Chase, I'm going to the psych, and they're why are you doing radiology? And I'm make something up, I'm just interested in it, this way I can be a more well-rounded physician, whatever you gotta say. And they're okay, yeah, that makes sense, you can go. And it's I haven't seen anything, and they're yeah, just head out. So I did that 3 times basically. Only once I got paired with a resident, and he made me watch for an hour or 2 per day for 3 days. But overall, probably spent less than, 10 hours for the whole 2 weeks doing stuff. So that was my MSK. So that was solid. So that was all the radiologies I had. They just got rid of a pediatric radiology course, where that one was completely online. My school no longer does it because they didn't agree with the website's billing or something. I don't know. But that was going to be a 4th one I was going to do. So long story short, do a radiology rotation in 4th year. They're super chill, and I have no regrets. But that's all I got. So see you next time. Thanks.